2, 3, 4. Here in 1998, and had I not moved in here then, I couldn't afford to live here now, that's for sure. But I've been here for a long time, so.
This is incredible.
Tuesday beer, craft beer Budz, and we're excited. We have our first female on the show, and you'll probably get tired of me saying that all week long, but I think part of me is still a bit amazed because it's been, you know, kind of a swinging appendage party prior to Susie's joining the cast. But yeah, craft beer Budz, where the palate always prevails because we don't know what we're drinking until we drank it. We have our buddy Matt back. He is our home brewer from the neighborhood, probably the most knowledgeable amongst all of us. We have our new friend Susie, also a product of Finest City Improv, is that correct?
This is correct.
That's awesome.
And you're in an improvised soap opera.
I am at Old Town Improv, and it's lots of fun.
Every other Friday, right?
Every other Friday.
Come on down to Old Town Improv and see an improvised soap opera, which is kind of wild.
That's awesome. And then we have our buddy Mike Schramm.
Hello. I'm back, and I brought another beer.
Who is quickly becoming a staple of the show. We appreciate your availability and your willingness to come drink with us.
As long as there's beer here, I'll come back and say hello. So
we're all here for the beer.
We're cheap labor.
So, all right, it is your turn. Tuesday beer. Take it away. What do you got?
I just saw this on the shelf and picked it up. I honestly, it was about a week ago that I bought it. I don't remember exactly what it is. I remember the brewery, but not the beer. So I'm just as curious as you guys.
Don't tell us where you got it from.
Nope, I won't say anything at all.
After the whole Target incident from last week, we've decided to keep certain things on the DLs.
I won't say anything, but I will say I've never had this. I forget what kind of beer it is, and I do know the brewery, but.
Well, that's right. That's been sitting in my refrigerator since last week.
That's right. I brought it here, and it's still sitting there. So you're not drinking enough, Jay.
Man, if there's, and actually, I think I might have made a mistake. I actually took a picture. Thank you, sir. I took a picture of my refrigerator and posted it on Facebook because it's time for a new refrigerator. There is so much beer in there; it's getting obscene. And but then I realized that could have been a mistake because if anybody, of course, nobody follows me on Facebook, which is probably just as well. But if anybody would have looked, you would see a lot of what beer.
All the future beers that are eventually coming out.
Well, but see, but I also made a point to make sure that none of those beers made it out here today. So.
All right, so it's still secret.
Yes, for now. Maybe I'll have to take that down.
I don't even follow you on Facebook. So.
Not many people. I'm not a very Facebooky kind of guy. I do a lot of the inside the craft stuff on Facebook, but personally, no.
I just took one sip of this, and now I remember exactly the beer that I bought. So
this, right off the top, this on the nose, it's like an American lager. That's just what I get. I haven't tasted it yet, but I just had to get that out because smelling it, it was like this could have been like a Budweiser or something.
I will say, notice when you first poured it, it came out really clear, and then as it settled in the glass, it almost built up a fog. It almost built up a little bit of a white layer.
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't see through this.
You can't, but when he was first pouring it, you were able to. So it's funny how it sat and it just it formed. It almost like took a certain form.
Yeah, there's
yeah.
a lot of
matter in
carbonation, but there's also stuff kind of hanging there. It looks
there's
like.
stuff in there. Not a lot of smell. Not a lot of smell to it at all.
No hop. I don't taste much hop at all, if any.
Wow, that's really interesting.
Getting a lot
I've
of
left
bitterness
them all speechless.
on the back of my tongue. I'm trying to find this beer. This beer is really, really, really cold, which might be affecting the ability to release
Yeah.
some of that.
I hate it when I can't release because I'm too cold.
It is very chilly. It's colder than most of the beers that we've had out here, so probably maybe a little bit too cold.
It's funny that you say that. I actually just 2 days ago went and got a thermometer to throw in the refrigerator because I have no idea what that thing is doing. And the last time I looked, it's like 39 degrees in there. So it's actually kind of too cold to be keeping the beers.
Yeah, this is a real enigma. There's not a lot of flavors coming off of it. It is sort of lagery, kind of almost like, I don't want to be insulting, it's a little watery, but...
Yeah, I'm getting a lot of a weird flavor on the back of my tongue. I'm not really a fan of whatever that flavor
There is
like,
something. You know what? And I said this before when we did the hop concept thing, and maybe I just have this weird thing with my palate, but I'm getting that metallic thing again.
I was actually going to say like kind of a penny in the back of my mouth.
Yeah, there is, and I was the only one getting it off of that hop concept beer. But again, yeah, this on the back of the tongue after it kind of goes, it's very crisp and like light, but there's something metallic on the back. And that always, just from listening to you previously, that always, my next thing is to wonder if there's a bottle date on there and wonder what the history of the beer is.
We can check it out.
Because those
Almost like
metallic things can be like an off flavor.
Yeast bitterness.
Maybe. It's got like, when you initially take a sip, it's very crisp and light. But then once it leaves your palate, the back of my throat actually gets kind of dry. It's almost like it has a dry after. It's funny.
It's a weird beer. It doesn't have a lot of flavor to it. It's not very surprising. The last beer that we had was very flavorful and
Yeah, I
had a
keep
lot
trying to
going
clean
on.
my palate. Like I'm drinking more and more of this water in the hopes maybe my palate's just.
I need to figure out what is there a snack food or something else that
To
I
clean
can.
your palate?
There's something else we need to do that, because that's another discussion we had one day when you weren't here. How going from different beers one to the next, how accurate can your palate really be after you've had 2 or 3 completely different beers?
But I think it's also a function of this beer specifically, to a certain extent, because there have been beers where we bring them out and I've just had something that's kind of flavorful, and another one is very different flavor and it's very clear to understand. I think this beer specifically is not giving off a lot of flavors. Could be because it's a little bit cold, but I think the beer itself is just not very...
I don't even know what to hang a label on this as far as even what style it is. I have no idea what's going on here.
I'm trying to find the flavors around that other weird flavor I'm getting. It's almost like a pithy flavor, like an
Perfect
pithy.
word of description for a beer like this. It's pretty bad, actually. I'm going to say I don't think I like this very much.
You know, I got to say, I don't dislike it. And I think part of my thing, too, is I always gravitate towards things that are unique. This is not something that I can say I've had before. I do think it has that kind of American lager smell that's kind of generic. But the flavor is just, I just don't know what to make of this.
Yeah, there's nothing interesting coming out of it. It's kind of flat and bland, and I'm not a huge fan.
Yeah, I agree. Like, there's clean, crisp flavor at the front, not a ton in the nose, kind of a little bit of fruit in the nose.
Some kind of fruit in there. It seems like there's something.
Yeah,
But I just don't know.
I want to try it. I want to try this beer on tap. Like, was this beer shaken up? Like, was this beer bottle conditioned? If it was bottle conditioned, that could explain this haziness, right? If you bottle condition a beer and it has that layer of yeast in the bottom, and it's laying on its side in that cooler, and we're pouring 3 different
and actually
drinks,
that's
it's shooting them up, yeast up in there, which can give us those flavors and give us this lack of clarity.
And we went through that with the bog sauce that you missed, because we were drinking it, and I won't go into details and digress into that beer, but to your point, when I poured that last little bit out, I kind of forgot you're not supposed to drink the tail end of those because it was totally opaque. There was just a ton of yeast in
The
there.
very bottom, it's just like almost bread. We can start with you and then come over to me, I guess.
Wow, God, man, I am so at a loss. If I had to pick a style, God damn it.
I think you hit it close by saying lager.
See, I can't picture this being an ale. It just seems too thin and light. It is certain, like on a hot day, I mean, I would take this over a Coors Light, but there is some oddity.
I love Coors Light. It's
You might go for that over this?
Yeah.
I don't like that beer. I am going to guess that it is some sort of lager. If it's an ale, I'll be shocked because I've just never had one like this. I think it's light on the ABV. It's probably somewhere, I'm going to say 4.6. And then to rate it, I'm still going to give it a 1.75 because it's so unique and I just don't know how to identify it. And actually, as it warms up a little bit, that kind of metallic weirdness is going away, it seems like. But yeah, I don't know what to make of this, so I'm going to let it go at that. So yeah, 4.8. I'm calling it a lager, and my rating is 1.75. Just because it's so odd. And if I was drinking this in a bar, I wouldn't say I want another one of those.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be like, ugh, I don't want this. I would finish it what I had, certainly.
I guess I'm turning into too much of a beer snob because I think I would not finish this and just order my next beer. I don't think I'd complain about the beer.
Well, some of us have varying degrees of problems with alcohol, and it's very hard for me to say, no, that goes away. It's like, no, there's still alcohol in there, so I'll probably finish it.
I'm going to say this is probably in the 5.1, 5.2 range as far as ABV.
So which one? 1 or 2?
I'm going to go 2.
5.2. I'm interested to see what you call it as far as a style.
Yeah, you do style, and I'm also interested, considering you wouldn't finish the beer, what would your rating be?
That's not a good number, I would say, probably.
I'm putting it at 1.5, but that might be a little higher than I want to. 1.5 as my rating. It seems like there's a lot of hops in this. If it's a lager, I'd be really surprised. I'm gonna go out there and say it's an ale, unless somebody's trying to I don't know, maybe dry hop a Pilsner up.
You know what? And as you were saying that, I was like, you know what? I'll bet it is a Pilsner.
A dry hop.
I'll bet it's a Pilsner.
Maybe a dry
hoppy
hop
Pilsner.
And I will say there's not a beer style I don't like except
for that one.
Pilsner, and I don't want to not like Pilsner, right? Because it's a lager with hops. I just haven't ever found one I like. So.
You know what? Can I guess I can. I was going to say I want to change this to Pilsner. Oh, it is.
Yeah.
That's, okay, so then I'm technically can still, but I think that is the style that I was missing. If that is a Pilsner, I will not be surprised. So is that what you're calling it?
I'm going to call it a Pilsner.
A Pilsner, okay.
And you said 1.5. 1.5. Susie, what do you think?
So I typically love Pilsners. They're one of my favorite types of beer to drink because it has that little bit of hop, but it's not like an IPA where it's over hopping, and I appreciate that. But I don't love this one. This one, although I do agree with you, it definitely seems like a Pilsner. It's got something that I literally can't put my tongue on it. I can't figure out. My rating, I would probably go a 1.2. I don't think I would order this in a bar. I don't think I'd be able to have a whole glass of it. This has some sort of aftertaste that I just don't love. It's after I swallow, it has some sort of this kickback. And I can't.
Yeah, there's something on the back end that's a little odd.
Somebody threw a bag of hops at a Pilsner.
They just had it in the same room as the brewery.
Oh, and did you guess the alcohol? Did you want to put a number on that?
Yeah, so this one doesn't taste as strong as the other one, the last one we had. And so my number, although my number was skewed on the last one, I'm going to say, I think I'm going to go with a 4.8, which is what I said for the last beer. And although I was wrong, I do think that this one...
Well, if
you keep picking 4.8 all the time, eventually you'll get it.
That is my plan here.
Right?
That's my plan here, gentlemen.
You can zero in at some point.
It's Murphy's Law.
And so are you calling it a Pilsner, or what did you...
I'm going to call it a Pilsner because I do think it's a Pilsner.
Okay. I'm kind of leaning that way myself, but I'm not going to change what I wrote.
It's getting better as it warms up. I'm still not order it again.
Yeah, it's not. I wouldn't say it turns
Well,
into
it's like I
good,
said,
but-
that
And that
whatever
might
the
be stuff
weirdness on the
settling.
back end was is kind of like
Yeah.
easing off as it opens up.
Well, if I remember correctly, you're all wrong. It's not a Pilsner as far as I remember, or a lager. I didn't like it. I'm going to rate it 0.75.
Ooh.
Which I think is still low. It's higher, I think, than the cider that we had last week.
That cider is so far got the benchmark for the bottom.
That cider, which I bought at Target, this is the second of 2 beers that I bought at Target.
No more beer shopping at Target.
Yeah, Target is now.
I mean, that beer might have sat on that shelf for a long time.
It could be
Target,
sitting there
too.
for a long time. You're right. I don't know
See,
if
and
that.
that's where I know the metallic could come. If that's oxidized, I know metallic flavors are associated with oxidation.
It could be the case. Like
been
I
sitting.
think you're exactly right. No more shopping at Target for beer. But I just figured we'd try something, try it out. I think it's bad. I was thinking 3 for the ABV. You're all way above me, and apparently I'm low, so I'm going to go up to 4.1 for the ABV.
And okay, I gotta know what this thing is.
If I remember correctly, and as soon as I tasted it, this thought came to mind as well. If I remember correctly, this is a pale ale.
I would never guess that. I
that
would
is not
never
order that
guess
again.
that.
It is the Nelson the Impaler from Iron Fist Brewing Company.
What?
And it's a
like
pale
Iron Fist
ale.
beer.
No, you know what? That is there a bottle date on that? Because I've had that beer and that one. I've had that beer and that is not what I remember drinking.
Nelson, I'm upset with you.
It says 097. That could be last year, maybe.
097.
September 7th last year.
There's no.
It just says
No
097. Yeah. 097 is what it says.
That's what
and
it
it does say bottle condition, so maybe
Yeah,
that.
so I think.
But see, I've
I
had that.
think we
beer.
might have hurt this beer a lot by it laying on its side in that cooler, and then us doing a triple pour where we're
Oh,
flipping
I
the bottle
see.
back
Yeah,
and forth,
yeah,
back and
yeah.
forth, back and forth, and that might explain why the flavors are cleaning up as it sits here.
Because
That
it's
yeast
dropping.
is dropping.
Yeah.
I do like the logo.
Yeah.
I very much like the logo.
Well, and the brewer I
I
liked.
have had that
So-
beer and I thought more of it when I had it
Yeah,
before.
the cider I bought, I knew it would be a mess. But this one, I was like, this is a craft beer that is worth picking up from Target. But I think you're right. I think the flavors didn't come out strong. It didn't taste super strong. And the pale ale in general is kind of relatively flavorless. Like it is sort of close to that sort of, light lager or whatever. But yeah, I wasn't super impressed with it. And,
I'm shocked.
Yeah, I mean, this shows the importance of what he says at the top of the show. If you get the chance, try the beer at the brewery. We can only grade what we have
Right,
sitting in
right.
front of us. That might not be any indication of what this beer really is if you get it fresh or out of a liquor store that stores it cold, it gets shipped cold, or when you go over to that brewery and drink it there.
Well, I certainly would not put this in the class with one of the beers that I recognized right away. But I do know that when I had it before, it's not this. I feel like if this, the first time I had it, tasted like this, I would have remembered that. And I just feel like it was better. So I think this is one of those beers that's kind of like what we went through with the acoustic ales with that first one. I almost feel like, I mean, we've rated it, we've given it all of our, and what was the ABV on that?
I was just looking at that, and it's 5.0.
there you go.
5.0. So, okay, so 4.8, 5.2, 4.8. Everybody was close, actually, except Mike Lowe again.
Low as
so
usual.
you're par for the course there. But yeah, I almost feel like this is one that we maybe have to revisit at some point. Just to verify, because this, I don't remember being this unimpressed the first time I had it.
Maybe don't buy it at Target.
Maybe that's a good idea.
I do have to defend Target a little bit. I do love Target. They have a lot of really good deals. Maybe not on beer.
That's fair.
But-
That's fair.
Side note, Susie sponsored by Target. So, okay, is
But there
that
you
it?
go. Yeah, it's worth trying. I would definitely try another Iron Fist beer. I don't think this is a knock on the brewery at all.
Yeah, no.
I think this
they
is a
typically have good
situational,
beer.
situational issue. But this specific beer, I'm going to try a little bit more at the bottom there, but it wasn't super great.
So yeah, Dink, we're gonna be suspect on that one, and we'll have to either do a field trip to the brewery or just get another bottle that we know is fresh.
Sure.
Drive up to Vista and bring down a growler.
Yeah.
All right, well, leave it to Mike to bring us another mystery. So that's it for Tuesday Beer. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Susie. Thank you, Mike. And Craft Beer Buds, if you're going to punish your liver, make it count. And wherever possible, drink it where they brewed it for the best craft experience. Peace. Cheers. We'll see you next time.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks, y'all.
I guess I gotta get you first.
Well, you can have one more. Yeah, I can only cheers with Matt, but that's okay.
Keep your fists iron.
Always good with a good tagline to finish with. That's
Yeah.
So, all right.